friends, welcome to the Divine Mercy Sunday. Divine Mercy Sunday is the Church's gentle way of saying you are more loved than you're broken. Now, please stop hiding in the utility closet of shame and come out to the light. You know, we often imagine divine mercy as this overly formal, cathedral-sounding thing, a stained glass concept best handled by saints, clergy, and the religious. But mercy is actually more like cleaning up the cat vomit at 2 a.m. You did not cause it. You don't want to deal with it, but love makes you show up anyway. That is mercy. Mercy is when you don't send the text that would win the argument but ruin the relationship. Mercy is when you let your spouse sleep in even though they forgot it was their turn with the baby. Mercy is when you say, "I forgive you," even when a small, very caffeinated part of your soul wants revenge via group chat. Mercy is when your toddler screams, "I hate you," because you cut their sandwich wrong and you hug them anyway. And maybe, most of all, mercy is when you extend that same kindness towards yourself, which for many of us is way harder than forgiving others. In today's gospel, Jesus appears to the disciples and says, "Peace be with you." He does not say, "Shame on you for bailing on me." He also does not say, "Here is a PowerPoint on how you failed me." Just peace. Think about this, my friends. Jesus does not scold the disciples for hiding. He does not say, "Really, Peter, you ghosted me during the worst 24 hours of my life, and now you are hiding like a middle schooler who forgot his science project?" No. He shows them his wounds, not his resume, not a slideshow of post-resurrection miracles. His wounds. In the gospel, the first thing that Jesus does when he rises from the dead is go looking for the people who failed him. Who failed him. Not to punish them, but to breathe peace. To commission them. To trust them again. That is divine mercy. Now, Saint Faustina, the mystic behind this feast, was not writing theology textbooks. She was a humble Polish nun having mystical experiences of Jesus, telling her to spread the message of his mercy. And her diary is less theological precision and more deep emotional insight into God's heart. And that heart beats with compassion. In her diary, she once wrote, the greater the sinner, the greater the right they have to my mercy." My friends, that is not divine tolerance. That is divine joy. God is not reluctantly forgiving us like some cosmic HR department doing damage control. No, God delights in healing. Mercy is God's favorite move. Yes, mercy is God's favorite move. Mercy, as our beloved late Pope Francis says, makes the world less cold and more just. It's the difference between a world where we keep score and a world where we keep each other. It's the parent who forgives the slammed door. The friend who listens to our worst day without judgment. The stranger who lets us merge in traffic when we are running late. Mercy is the oxygen of the soul. Mercy is the oxygen of the soul. So what does this mean for us here today? It means there is no locked door in your life that Jesus cannot pass through. No mistake so terrible that mercy cannot reach it. No doubt so strong that love cannot answer it. When Thomas finally encounters Jesus, he does not shame him. Jesus simply invites him closer. He tells him, "Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side." Notice what is happening. The wounded one invites the doubter to touch his wounds. The one deserving justice offers mercy. The one with every right to hide his scars displays them openly as bridges of connection. And here is where we find our challenge. Mercy received must become mercy extended. Mercy received must become mercy extended. We are called to be wounded healers in a world desperately in need of second chances. The Acts of the Apostles shows us what a community transformed by mercy looks like. Performing signs and wonders, growing in numbers, reaching out to the sick and the suffering. Not the perfect people, but forgiven people becoming agents of healing and mercy. So, my friends, as we celebrate Divine Mercy Sunday, perhaps the question is not whether God can forgive our worst mistakes. The real question is whether we can accept that forgiveness and extend it to others. Can we stop checking our locks long enough to realize that Jesus is already in the room offering us peace? Because in the end, mercy is not just what God does. It is who God is. Mercy is who God is. And becoming merciful is not just what we do, it is who we are called to become. Amen. God bless you all.